Hello everyone, this is day 5 of 69 days of code. My name is Rajat Upadhyay and today we'll be looking into yet another interesting topic in software engineering, which is called as stateful and stateless architecture. So what is stateless architecture? What is stateful architecture? What is the use of both of these architecture? So we'll be looking into all of these things today and what is the comparison of both of them, how to implement both of them, right? We'll be looking into that as well. So stay on with me and let's learn this amazing thing. And I'm just going to share my screen and show you some basic theory of what stateless and stateful architectures are, and then we'll get right into it. Okay, so what is stateless architecture? What is stateful architecture? So right now, whenever you authenticate your user, whenever you authorize your user, right? What do? Basically, most of the people, what do they do? They create token and they pass that token along to the front end or the client side application, whether it is a view application or whether it is a mobile application or it is made on React or Angular or whatever, right? We pass along a token, a hash token of password and username or whatever it is from the back end to the front end. And that front end token, that token is stored inside either the local storage or the cookie storage inside your front end, right? And that way you know that your user is authenticated. And whenever you are making an API call to any of the protected routes, you pass along that token and that token is verified. In that case, the data is written. If it is not verified, then the data is not written, right? That is simple way. And this is called stateless architecture or stateless authentication, right? In this way, you're not maintaining any states or maintaining any data of authentication or sessions on the server side. No, you're not doing that. You're just maintaining it on the client side, right? You're maintaining that token on the client side, and that token is being passed with every call. Okay. So what can happen here is, if let's say we don't want the user to, if we don't want the user to be logged in anymore, right? What will happen is the user is still logged in, he still has a token, right? And whenever the request is being made, the data is either written or not written, but the user is still logged in. What if we want to log out the user on our own will? We won't be able to do that because we do not have that power when the token is being stored on the front end. What if we were maintaining the sessions on the server side? In that case, we would have the power to log out the users on our own, right? So let's see. Let's look into the basic stateless architecture first. So what is stateless architecture? Stateless architecture is architecture in which you don't maintain any state or any data or any session related, login related data inside the server, right? We are not maintaining any data of any user, which user is logged in, which user is logging for how much time. We are not maintaining all of that inside the server, right? We are just passing along tokens and verifying tokens. So that is called stateless architecture. So let me just draw our laptop here and our server over here. So this is our computer. This is our server. This is our /login. Okay. And let's say this is our / my favorite videos. Okay. So my favorite videos route. Okay. And there is a function over here, generate token. And there's another function, verify token. Okay. And the user is over here at https something.com. Okay. Now, when the user visits at something.com, right, what happens is it is asking the user to log in. Now, what the user will do, he'll pass along the username and the password, right? And that request will go over here inside the login route. Okay. That is how a REST API request works, right? This login route will, however, what it will do is it does not have anything on its own. It will pass that along to some other function, right? And let's say it will fetch the data from the database. So I forgot to create the database. Okay. So we have the database over here, right? We have the DB over here, and it will pass along. It will ask for the data regarding that user from the database, and it will verify whether the username and password is correct or not. And once the username and password is verified, what this login route will do is it will create a token. So that is how we create a token, right? That is how we handle token authentication. We create a hashed token. What is a token? A token is nothing but a hashed value, right? Which is unique for that particular user for that particular time, right? So we will create a hash. We will go to this function from here, generate token. This generate token function will generate a token based on some values, right? It can be the time, it can be the username, it can be other information. It will generate a hash token for us, a hashed string for us, and it will return it back to the login route, and that login route will return it back to the website, and we will be logged in. Okay, hurrah. So we are logged in right now. Now what we need to do is we need to pass along this token. This token that was passed, it will be stored inside the memory of the browser. So I'll create a memory space. So let's say this is the internal storage of the browser. Okay, the internal storage or the cookie. Okay, depending on how you like to do it. And we have our token over here. Okay, token ABCD. Okay, FGH. So this is our token. Okay, least secure token ever made. Okay, so this is our token, and we store it over here. Now what will happen is whenever we are making a call to another, you can say another API to another API endpoint, right? What will happen is, okay, let me just make it as more simpler. Okay, so what will happen is now a second API call is being made, right? So first of all, it will go over here and it will fetch the token from here. Okay, the token is fetched because that particular route is a protected route. You cannot access that route, my favorite videos route, okay, without logging in. You cannot look at someone else's favorite videos. You cannot look at someone else's playlist, right? So you will have to be logged in because it is a protected route. So this particular token will be taken from here and will be passed along in the headers, okay, and then this API call will be made to this, my favorite videos, okay. My favorite videos will then, before going to the database, it will go to verify token. It will verify whether the token is correct or not, whether the token is wrong or token is correct, right? Whether it is expired or not. If the token is correct, then it will go from here to the DB. It will fetch all the videos for that particular user, favorite videos, and then it will return back the data, right? And it will be displayed on the screen. So that is how stateless authentication works. This is called stateless authentication that most of us have been doing until now, okay? Because stateful authentication, I don't think people know it a lot because it was used before. It's not a new technology. It was used before, and it was difficult to scale with stateful authentication. So we'll look into what stateful authentication is, and we'll look into why it is difficult to scale. Okay, but right now here you can see that there is no particular user data or user login data that is being maintained inside the server. The server is just verifying the token, generating the token, and communicating with the database, right? So this is called stateless architecture or stateless authentication. Okay, stateless auth, right? All right. So what is stateless auth? We pass along a token, we store the token in the front end, and whenever we have want to access some particular route which is protected, we pass along that token inside the headers, we verify the token, and we access it. There is no session data, no user data maintained inside the backend server. Okay. Okay. Now let me pull up another Paint window, and now we'll look at stateful. Okay. So what is stateful? Let's look into it. So again, I'm going to create our nice laptop and our server. Okay, so this is again our computer. This is our server. This is https something.com. Okay, and this is our /login. This is our /my favorite videos. Okay, and I don't think we need a token here because there is no token inside this. Okay, we have our database, right? Done. Awesome. Everything else is done. Okay, so what will happen over here is whenever we make a request to call from here, okay, so whenever we make a call from here, let's say to log in, the username and password will be passed along, right? That there is no exception to that. The username and password is always passed along, so that will be passed along. Now this will verify the username and password by making a call to the DB. That is also not an exception. Okay, that is done every time. But as soon as the user is verified, we have a log here inside our server, a local log, in which we will maintain that this user logged in at this particular time. Okay, the user data, and he logged in at this particular time, right? And when this is done, right? When this login success is written here, then we will return back, let's say another token, right? A token, simple a token that you have been logged in, right? Now, next time what happens when the user comes in, the next KPI call comes in and authorizes and says, I have passed on the token. I want to access my favorite videos. Instead of verifying that token that was passed from the user, the application will go to this log or this space or this database, or not database statement. It's not stored in the database really. It's just one simple space over here. You can say a file or a log or an audit. Okay, it will see whether this user is logged in or not. If this user is logged in, it will fetch the data from the DB and then it will return back the data. If it is not logged in, if it says over here not logged in, then it will redirect the user to /login route, and then /login route will log in the user, right? So that is how it works. This is stateful authentication. Now, what is the difference between token based and stateful authentication is, in stateless authentication, we did not have any data on the backend which users were logged in, because we were just passing the tokens and verifying the tokens, but we did not know whether the user is logged in or logged out. Here we have a trail, right? Here we have a trail. Let's say there is another route, /logout route. So when the user makes that call /logout route, this trail will be updated and user is logged out will be updated over here for that user. Okay, so we know which user is logged in, which user is not logged in, right? If we pass some data over here, if we want to manually change this, okay, I want to manually deactivate a user, or I want to manually log out a user, I'll just change it over in the trail, and next time the request is being made, this trail will be checked and the user will be automatically logged out from here, right? So this way we have control over whether the user is logged in or not, right? This is one of the advantages. Another advantage, if you are always storing your JWT tokens in stateful authentication, the previous one we studied, right? Stateful authentication in the DB. If you are always storing a token in the DB, and then you are making a API, making a DB call and checking whether the token is there or not. In that way, you can always avoid that DB call. And in case of stateful authentication, that DB call will be avoided, and this call for the audit will be made, right? But again, this can be a disadvantage also. What if there are a lot of users? Then there will be an overload on the server. The server will have to check this audit every time. This can be an O of an operation, right? O of an operation. But in case of directly verifying JWT token, it will be a O1 operation, right? So stateless authentication has that advantage. Stateful authentication does not have that advantage, right? Because in stateful authentication, we are going through this whole trail, and it is finding the user in that trail, whether it is logged in or not. So it is ON. In case of stateless, we are directly verifying. We are directly calling the function jwt.verify, right? .verify function like that. So we are directly verifying it. So it's an O1 operation, right? So that is a difference. What is the second difference? Let's see that we are scaling our servers, right? So we have a lot of users coming in, and we are scaling up our application by adding one more server. So I have one more server and another server, right? 3 servers. So this is server 2. This is server 3. Now the problem is there's a load balancer over here, right? What is a load balancer? Load balancer balances the load between different servers of the traffic coming in from the client side, right? Whether this server is less busy, this server is less busy, this server is less busy, it will direct the load to that server, right? So let's say that the user 1, there was some particular user over here who made a call over here, and his call was directed to this, and he logged in, and his log was stored inside this audit, server 1's audit, right? Next time he makes the call, the server 1 is a little bit busy. 1 hour later, the user comes in and makes another call, right? Visits his page, my favorite video. But server 1 is sort of busy right now. So what happens is the load balancer, instead of directing the call to server 1, it directs the call to server 2. But the audit trail here does not have the data for that user, because server 1's audit trail had the data, not server 2's. So he will have to log in again. Similarly, if 1 hour later he comes in again, and this time the load balancer sends in a call to server 3. Now this server's audit or this server's file has the data that the user is logged in. This server's file has the data that the user is logged in, but this server's file does not have the data that the user is logged in. So the problem is, again, he will have to log in, right? So that is the problem. Again, if you want to log out, right? So if he logged out from server 1, but he's not logged out from server 2 or server 3, next time he comes in, he might be logged in, even though he logged out the last time he accessed the application, right? So it does not scale well, right? Stateful authentication does not scale well. But in case of stateless authentication, there is no audit trail being maintained inside any server. So even if we have multiple servers, right, all of them will do one thing only: verify the JWT token, right? They don't have a single file there. So they'll just verify the JWT token. So stateless authentication does not have the problem of scaling up. Stateful authentication has the problem of scaling up. There are other such comparisons between them. So if you want to look at them, there is a link in the description box for GitHub repo where I have put the code for day 5 of 69 days of code. Visit that day 5 folder inside that repo, and you will find a README file. Inside that README file, there are links over there, and you can find the comparison link of both stateful and stateless to understand what are the advantages and disadvantages of both of them. I have told you just two of them, right? Scaling and the O2 and O1 time comparisons, right? Also, it's sort of a complexity also. So in case of stateful authentication, right, see, so many audit trails have to be maintained, so many things have to be done, which becomes a bit complex, right? But in case of stateless, it is not complex. You just have to generate the token and verify the token. It's not really complex. Okay. So let's do one thing. Let's implement one of them. So we are not going to obviously implement stateful authentication. This is stateful authentication is a kind of complex, so we are not going to do it right now, but we are going to implement stateless authentication using JWT in NodeJS. So let me just initialize my project once. If you want to participate in 69 days of code along with me, you can participate in it. You can study something new every day, and then you can come on LinkedIn. You can create a Medium blog on it. You can create a YouTube video on it. Tag me. I'll provide my LinkedIn profile below. And put a hashtag 69 days of code. Really amazing, learning something new every day. All right. So what I'll do is I'll share my screen. Okay. So we have this normal, very basic code written over here. Okay. Const express code require express const applicable to express body parser using body parser app.get / Bobby says hello world. Okay. App.listen 6969 server is printing. All right, I'll go in there and I'll say nodemon index. Oh, it worked. Even though I spelled it out wrong. Index server is printing. Let's go to our Edge browser. I don't really use Edge on a daily basis, but I want to keep the video separate from my personal work, so I'm just using Edge for now. Local 6969. Bobby says hello world. Bobby is my friend. No, Bobby is not my friend. Okay, so what we have to do is we have to install a new package which is called JSON Web Token. Okay, so we are going to use JSON Web Token and for creating a new token for our new user. Okay, so JSON Web Token, npm install JSON Web Token, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to say const JWT equal to require JSON Web Token like this, right? Very simple, nothing complex. Node1 index. Okay, so JWT has required it. Now let's create a route app.post, a login route. Okay, so the user has to log in. And we are going to take the username and the password out of the request.query. Okay, I'm not passing it in the, let's just call it a get route. Okay, for simplicity. Otherwise, I will have to go into Postman and then create a post request from over there, and it will become complex. So we are just going to pass it over here like this. Okay, make it very simple. Request.params. And return res.send. Okay, simple, nothing complex. Now we'll call this get route. So I'll go over here. I'll say /login /Rajat, or let's say Bobby /my password 123. We have got your data. Let's go into the console and we can see Bobby and my password 123. Okay, so Bobby's password is and Bobby's username is console logged over here. Okay, what we need to do is we are implementing stateless authentication. In case of stateless authentication, what we do is we create a token and we pass it along to the front end, right? So they can store it to the cookies or the local storage as they want. So how to create a token? So we say JWT dot, oh, this is sign as far as I remember. Yes, sign. Okay, and what we do is we pass along a payload. Payload means the data that we are passing along for that particular user. So we'll pass the username like this, okay? And then we pass a salt key, okay? So the hash key, the salt key, the access key. So based on this access key, this is our secret, right? Based on this secret, our sign will happen, right? So this is the secret that is being used by JWT internally to hash this, right? So this is the, you can say the hash key or the salt, what we say in different libraries, okay? This particular key will be used to hash this, okay? And this is a secret key. If anyone gets their hand on the secret key, they will be able to easily decrypt all of the hashes that we have, okay? So this is something very, very important, okay? So let's just create it over here right now. Say my JWT secret like this equal to, usually we should create a hash over here using, hexadecimal and everything, but right now I'm just going to say wasted, okay? So we are going to put over here my JWT token like this, right? And let's store it inside const token is equals to this and console.log token. Okay. So what it is doing, it is taking JWT sign, it is taking a payload. Payload means which data you have to, you have to provide some data to each token, right? What is that token going to contain? So that token is going to contain the username only. And then we are going to say my JWT. Okay, let's just say here, making a DB call to verify password and username. Okay, so we are making some DB call over here, verifying the password and username, right? Let's say select star from users where username equal to username and password equal to password, right? So let's just assume that we are making a DB call over here and we are verifying this username and password, and only after verifying them we are calling this create token, right? So once we have verified the user, then we are creating a token and passing it along to the user. So my JWT secret, const secret, let's go. Okay, Chrome. Let's refresh. If we go over here, you can see that this is a JWT token which has been provided to us. JWT token has 3 parts. Okay, so the hashed parts and the expiration parts and the actual payload part. If you want to look at this again, you are welcome to do so by clicking on the GitHub link below. If you want to understand all these different parts in depth, right, you have to go to the internet. I'm going to explain that in the video right now. Okay, so this token is passed along, and what we will do is we will just say app.get my favorite videos. Okay, async rec res like this. Okay, and then we'll say, okay, we are also going to pass the token over here. So let me just check if there's an ampersand in that token. Okay, there's no ampersand, right? I'll just pass the token over here like this token. Okay, and we'll say const token equal to rag.params. Okay, like this, and then we'll say const res is equals to jwt.verify. We have to verify the token, and we have to pass the key also. Okay, the key that was used to hash the token. So I'm passing the token itself and I'm passing the key. Okay, and then console.log res. That's not written any data back right now. Let's just console.log it. Okay, and let's put it over here like this. My favorite video. Okay, slash something like this. Videos. I have multiple favorite videos. Still cannot get it. Just copy it then. Server hasn't restarted yet. Res. Okay, sorry. Let's just call it result. It is confusing it with this res. Refresh. If you come back over here, it is saying JWT malform. Okay, that was not what I was expecting. It threw an error. Wow. So let's do one thing. Let's put it inside a try catch block. Catch error like this. Let me copy this, put it over here. Okay, and console.log Oops. Right. Okay, so what are we getting now? What is this here? Let's just start it over again. So much data. Okay, we are getting so much data over here. We get oops. Okay, we got oops. So that means the token was not verified. So let's do one thing. Let's log in once. So we have logged in. I have to make this stop. Okay, so this is our token, right? Let me put the call over here, and we want to copy the token. So copy this token, and this token should go inside this, right? Like this. Copy it. Let's just cut it, and let's make this call. Okay, this time. Getting so much. There is no oops over here, right? That means that the call was successful, right? So let's do one thing. Const result equals to this. Okay, and I'll say console.log success like this, right? Okay, let's try it out once more. We're getting all of this, and if we go up, you can see success, right? And we are not able to see that oops right now. Okay, so now what I'll do is I'll remove some of this data and make that API call again. Go down now. So in the second API call that was being made, right? Just stop the server. Now make the API call. And if you go back, I don't know why all of this is appearing. Look into this. You can see oops, right? So this time it was not able to verify it, right? So in case it comes over here, we'll just say return res.send not verified. Okay. In case it comes over here, then what will happen? It will just go along with it even to later stages, right? So we'll just say over here, return res.send. Here are your videos. Okay, like that. Let's just make that call, and we both know, all of us know what we are going to get over here. CLS. Let's just put it over here. No, not this. Come on. Localhost 6969 slash my favorite videos slash something, right? Not verified because the token is incorrect, right? And if we need the correct token, we'll need to go to the login route. Okay, we'll have to get the token, and then paste the token over here, the correct token. Okay, here are your videos. Simple, right? Stateless authentication. What I have to deal with after this is that log. Okay, now that console log is not appearing. Okay, if I remove this, I think then the console log will appear. Paste the request again. Oh no, that whole object that was coming in, it's not a pain anymore, right? So it's awesome. We worked on it, right? And it is amazing. So you have to put a try catch block. Okay, if in this try catch block, if you get the jail to verify, it verifies, right? Otherwise, it will throw an error, and you can handle that error inside that catch block, and it will work. I'm sure there are ways to do it even apart from try catch blocks. Maybe it returns a boolean value JW.verify. Okay, so say return value from JW.verify, right? If it returns a boolean value, we don't have to put that try catch block over there. We can just handle this with the boolean value itself. Yeah, exactly the same thing. It return a JWT malformed, right? That's what we need to handle. You cannot pass any value as token. You need to say. This guy doesn't make any sense. Yes, you know that it is returning that, but how do you handle it? Okay, you know what? Maybe I'll look into this later on my free time, and then I'll update it inside the GitHub repo itself. So maybe whenever you are watching this video, you'll be able to see that code update inside the GitHub repo itself. So just visit the GitHub repo, and maybe you will see a way to handle it in the GitHub repo. I'll update that code later on. So this is stateless versus stateful authentication, right? In case of stateful authentication, you will just you will not need any of the tokens or anything, right? You will just maintain a server variable over here, and you will do it. So we can, okay, yeah, that's all. That's the difference. If you want to look at the code, if you want to look at the articles that I visited, right? If you still have any doubts on this, you can visit the GitHub repo that is provided in the link below. You can visit the day 5 of 69 days of code in the code folder, okay, and you can access all the resources inside the README file. And if you want to participate in 69 days of code, you already know what to do, okay. Create a Medium blog, create a YouTube video, tag me on LinkedIn, I'll provide my LinkedIn file below. Put a hashtag 69DOC, okay, and let's learn something new. I'll be waiting for you in the next video, right?